The office you're running for, Cook County Board, doesn't deal with some of those issues. But let me ask you, since you have the table right now, how do you distinguish yourself from Tony Preckwinkle and Roger
Sure.
Keats?
Just to finish up on that point, though, we at the county and municipal level bear the burden of that mess that I just made reference to. So we have to fix the mess that we're given down at the county and municipal level. That's why you've got state and regional governments going bankrupt all over America. This is not just a Chicago problem, it's a national problem. But to get to the point that you asked, well, I think the two candidates are cut from the same cloth. They sup at the same table. They're taking money from the unions and from large corporations. You just look at Tony's Preckwinkle's, the Democratic nominees' forums. You look at Rogers' forums. I am not taking money from neither corporations or unions, and therefore I'm going to be in a better position to make the tough choices that are going to be needed to made for this county.
And yet, you agree with Tony Preckwinkle in rolling back the recent tax hike. You agree in keeping the Independent Health Board as an oversight body.
I do, but
how do you differ?
I go much further than that. I will do a forensic audit on the county on every line of business. I will look at every contract. I will look at every employee over my first term. There is so much waste.
It sounds like you agree with the Republican on that one. As I recall, Roger Keats would do the same thing.
Yeah, but he stole my line. I was saying, we're going to a train wreck, and we're facing this unprecedented storm of incompetence and cronyism. It's been estimated by the Better Government Association that 10% of our government expenses here in the state of Illinois are used on wasted on corruption.
Let me get to Lee Allen Jones. How do you distinguish yourself from Lexi Janulius and Mark Kirk?
I think when you look at the two candidates, I think they're both fine gentlemen, but their abilities to govern, I think, at this time on the federal level are at best questionable. Looking at the fact that you have Evan Bayh, I want to say 2-3-term senator from Indiana, saying that he will not seek re-election in Indiana, being a centrist voice within the United States Senate, they're at a time where there are tremendous issues on the table. Being a federal candidate and looking at where the economy is, looking at the stimulus dollars, looking at health care reform, a lot of legislation that is going to stimulate on the local level and the counties and on the state level is going to come on the federal level. And I don't believe that their interests, based upon the discussions that they put forth within the primary, are going to suffice. Saving 600 jobs at Hartmarks, and when you consider the massive levels of unemployment that we have in the state, typically in African-American communities and rural communities, that is not a competent enough program, especially if we go into a double-dip recession, which many economists are looking at. Those 600 jobs pale in comparison when you look at the overall state economy and even just the largest economy within the state, the Chicago northern region of the state.
Speaking of competence, I may be mistaken, but have any of you held public office before?
No, but I'd say that's a mark in our favor, frankly. People often say to third-party candidates or people who are new to the process, well, what is your experience? And they would ask that question. I will tell you, we don't have experience in hiring our cousins, our brothers, and our sisters.
Yeah, but do you have experience in your case?
Yeah.
Hold on. Yeah. In your case, Cook County government has 20-some thousand employees, a budget of $3-something billion.
I'll tell you what we do have. We have the passion to serve, we have the intellect to invent, and we have the courage to lead. Many of the people in this party have solved problems at the local level. We've had experience in running nonprofit organizations, in collaboration, in coalition building, and working in the grassroots where a lot of knowledge is, and we're in touch with that, and we will call on that as well as the academic community to take service.
Lee Allen Jones, you want to say something?
When you take into consideration that the candidate on both sides, Mark Kirk, 10 years within the United States Senate, what has he really done?
U.S. House.
U.S. House, he's running for the Senate, excuse me. When you look at a guy like Alexi Janulius, Family Bank right now is being investigated by the FDIC for having a very widely above average loss in commercial loans, and the fact that he lost a considerable amount of money within Bright Start, a tremendous amount of experience, not a lot of efficiency.
Rich Whitney?
We have leadership in the movement-based groups that are the foundation of the Green Party. I've held leadership roles in the anti-war movement. I've held leadership roles in the movement for single-payer health care, in the environmental movement. That's our strength. That's where we have experience. We're representing the constituencies that have the good public policy solutions. We know what the answers are, but they can't get it past that brick wall of these two institutions called the Democratic and Republican parties, what I call the two corporate-sponsored parties.
So in 2006, you got 10% of the vote. What are your expectations for this election cycle?
My expectations for this election cycle is that I'll win 40% of the vote and I'll be the next governor of the state of Illinois.
Your expectation?
Well, if I can raise a little bit more money, I think I'll be competitive. Frankly, it is an issue for third-party candidates, and we're in a conundrum with groups that cover us. And so we thank TTW for giving us this time to go before the public. When the public finds out about us, then it builds a nice feedback loop. We get a little more money. We're able to get our message out. If I'm able to do that, I will be your next Cook County Board
Alan
President.
Jones, you'll have the last word. Your expectations?
I think it's going to be interesting. I think that when you look at Pew studies, when you look at, you know, if you just look at the very basics, both parties have spent a tremendous amount of money, and people believe less in government. If we were corporations, if we were looking at this as a business model, looking at the massive amount of money that has gone into the campaigns on the state level, to only get 1 in 5 voters out at the expense that they have, I like our chances getting at that 80%, and I'll say it'll be interesting.
Rich Whitney, Lee Allen Jones, Tom Trester, thank you all for being here. We appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Thank you.